All right, guys, welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce. Tumeenjoy makeki na matwiti hapa, but indeed, again, the cake festival is on this weekend, and it is for a great cause. So please do take part in it if you can. Tomorrow, Carnival grounds from 10 a.m. And with that said, we're going to move on to our next segment here, which we want to talk about easy ways to preserve and style your dreadlocks. Joining me on the show, I have Wycliffe Mwangi, who's a loctician. Karibu sana to the show.
Asante.
Now, a lot of people nowadays have dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Some of them, and I guess we see them styled differently. We see them, do you say applied or locked differently?
Yeah, styled differently.
Styled differently.
Yep.
But there's those who keep theirs very, very neat, and then there's those who, I don't know, hiyo bado ni style.
Yeah, hiyo bado ni style.
Hiyo bado
Yeah,
ni
kuna
style.
watu wanapenda zikiwa tu hivyo rough. Yeah, there are those people who don't like them very neat.
Okay.
Yeah, wanapenda tu kuziachilia hivyo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, styling your hair, is there, when you have dreadlocks, are there any theories behind it or any sort of practices, ways to go about it that so that it's not too damaging to one's hair? Because there's already a lot of tension on the hair, isn't
Yes.
there?
So just know your stylist and then know your kama nywele yako ni weak, jua vile ina grow. So you avoid too much styling, and then you avoid to put extensions on your locks. Just remain with your natural locks.
Okay.
Yep.
The extensions, are they damaging?
Yeah, they are damaging depending with how they are done.
Really? Because
Yes.
of the weight?
Yes, because of the weight.
Okay. Okay. And, you know, a lot of times the truth is when people look at dreadlocks, there's this perception that the hair is just, it's been unkempt and it's not been cleaned, you know, since 1984. So, you know, how does one maintain, like, proper hygiene on their heads, especially for the gentlemen, particularly those who really want that rough, rugged look? You know, how can they also maintain, you know, proper hygiene with their hair?
So actually, the theory that dreadlocks they are kept dirty is not true, because actually clean hair locks faster than dirty hair. So we advise on washing your hair regularly. That is, if you're not twisting it,
Okay.
you can be washing it like like every week.
Okay.
But if you want to keep it like that rough look, and if you want to retouch it, you retouch like once a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
it's
then you
supposed
can
to be,
use some treatments, some sprays to
or
keep
even like deep
moisturized.
conditioning.
Yes, deep
You
conditioning.
should be deep conditioning
Yes.
your locks.
Yes.
Okay. Do you find that, why do you think a lot of people, that when they come to you, I don't know if you have this conversation with them, but do you ask them, you know, why do you want locks? Is it because they find it's easier to maintain? Is it part of a cultural movement that they're trying, or a fashion statement that they're trying to make? Why do you think a lot of people
Some
get
want to make a
dreadlocks?
fashion statement. Some want to keep it as a style. Others is a simple way of maintaining natural hair. Yes.
Okay. And when you look at the workplace, I mean, in most office places, dreadlocks haven't typically been, you know, like office hairs appropriate or allowed, let me say, office hairstyles. Are there ways that you are able to style, you know, dreadlocks so that it is appropriate for the office?
Yeah, there's so many. Currently, we have so many styles. We have official style, executive styles, we have fancy styles. So just like normal styles, you can just be creative with your locks.
Okay.
Yes.
So for a gentleman at home who has an interview next week, what can he do to his hair to prepare for that interview?
Sorry?
I'm trying to say that if there's a young man watching this show
Yeah.
who has dreadlocks right now,
Yeah.
but has an interview in a formal workplace, how can he sort of prepare his hair, or what can he style what can he do at home to present himself, you know, at the interview?
So just know if you have long hair, if you have long locks, just wash them. You can just hold a ponytail, and if it's possible, you can visit a salon. For that matter, our salon is in town, Dreadlocks, Nairobi, Kenya, and you can have your locks styled.
Okay.
Yeah. And still you can do a home remedy. You can, there's those people who normally twist themselves, so you can twist
okay.
it yourself.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So talk to us then about the different lock trends. You've mentioned that there are different styles.
Yes.
There are different trends. What are some of the ones that we're seeing?
For us, for me personally, as a loctician, I create styles. I set the trends.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. So talk to us about some of the trends that you're set to.
So depends with if a customer come to me, it depends with the occasion, depends with the dressing. So I will create a style for her depending with the occasion.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about then the longevity or how sustainable this is as a hairstyle. We've seen people with locks for many, many years on end. Others maybe will just try it out and then they'll comb out the locks. Typically, how long do you think someone can stay with their dreadlocks without it completely damaging their hair follicles?
Dreadlocks as a hairstyle is a permanent thing. So unless you opt to cut them, you can stay with your locks as long as you want them. And as long as you're doing the correct maintenance, yeah, the locks can serve you for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're also seeing a lot of people, again, back to the artificial locks, which it sounded like you don't actually recommend.
Yes.
The extensions you don't recommend. What is that process? How do they put them in?
The artificial extensions. Artificial extensions, we recommend them for people who are starting locks. They have short locks. There is that look that people don't like when starting locks. So we recommend only on that period, but after that we don't recommend extensions. So extensions are made from synthetic hairs.
Okay.
So we personally make them at our salon. So and it's easy and it's cheap to install.
Okay.
Yeah, you can stay with them like for a year or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had already addressed this question that came in on Facebook, but maybe you can touch on it once again. Irene Kendi says, hello Joyce, how do they maintain the cleanness of their locks? Because most of them nikiwaona huwa zinakaa chafu, especially kukiwa na jua. Okay. Kwani jua inafanyaje? Anyway, but thank you Irene for that comment. What do you say to that?
So jua, you know, locks, it's a combination of dead hair and alive hair. So there's some strands, they're not getting nutrients from the follicles. So when zikichomwa na jua, for many like months, they tend to discolor, to turn to tinta. So what we advise to do is at least you dye your hair black or whatever your preferred color at least once a year to maintain the black color. Yeah.
Okay, so that explains it, because you know there's people with very dark hair,
Yes.
and then the ones that it starts to look brownish and whatnot, which is what maybe people are saying inakaa chafu.
Inakaa chafu,
but really
yeah.
it's just the
And
tint
still,
of the hair.
bado inaweza kaa chafu because of the dust and the like.
Right.
So yeah.
By the way, in Nairobi, vumbi tuko nayo. I want to ask you about color. So even if, forget the artificial extensions, you know, for me, I'm a naturalista, so I'm already afraid of color, because color, it's a chemical and it's damaging to your hair.
Sure.
You know, when it comes to now locks, is the hair more resilient, do you feel, or do people with locks also experience color damage?
Yeah, they experience the same experience as the open hair, which are not locked, but there's some remedies that we recommend when you do the colors. And still we have colors which have low peroxides, and they are very safe for locks.
Okay.
Yeah, we have colors specifically made for locks.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, didn't know that. In terms of the cost, you know, I used to work with a guy who had the most neatest locks I have ever seen in my whole life, and they were long.
Yeah.
He's been, you know, having them for a long time. But the guy was in the shop like every week, like once or twice a week. So, you know, as much as it's often seen as a very easy style to maintain, there's also costs to it.
Yeah.
So, you know, on average, what are we looking at as far as like installing the locks? On average, what should that cost be? You can give us a range. But even just in the maintaining of the locks, like when someone needs to go and relock them or retwist them,
Okay.
you know, approximately how much money are we looking at?
Actually, locks are the easiest hairstyle is the easiest and cost-efficient style to maintain, because we're looking at 1,200 for a retouch, and then the installing cost is 3,500. So for a retouch, you're supposed to go to the salon at least 3 weeks or a month.
Okay.
Yeah, to have them washed, and if you want to treat, if it's a retwist and treatment, that's 2,000.
Okay.
So approximately 2,000 you're sorted.
Okay, and that should take you through the month.
Yeah, sure.
So not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
All right. And as we get ready to wrap up, there's something I have to ask you.
Yeah, sure.
Juu tunaona wababa walikuwa when they were young Turks, yeah, they had dreads, but then slowly it begins to eat away at their hairline and really pulls back their hair. Their hairline begins to recede because, again, there's a lot of tension that comes with that, especially if you're always going to be shika-shikaing it, you know, in a very tight bun. So what would you sort of advise that? Because that's people are going bald in this town.
Hiyo ni ya wababa, si ndio?
Hata wanaume, hata my young boys wako na hizo shida.
So, because for men, it's genetic. Some are, it's genetic. So unapata mtu kwao, kuna mtu alikuwa na kipara. So unapata nywele tu naturally ina recede. So, but they are so, in Kenya now we have remedies to like sort out kipara things. So unaweza enda ufanyiwe transplant. Yeah.
But ideally, how the lock shouldn't be very tight, right? Because we call that what's traction alopecia.
Traction alopecia. So unafaa kuangalia like the twisting duration. You're not supposed like kukua unai-twist like mara mingi sana.
Okay.
So at least I recommend at least unaiosha and then unaiacha hivyo for some time to at least ina get body.
Okay.
Yeah. But generally like twisting locks doesn't cause much traction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so people shouldn't be too afraid of that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let me see if we have any other comments here on Facebook. Miss Salem or Samim Debbie, you say, ask him how to maintain artificial locks, but your hair are not locked yet and you don't want it to lock.
Okay, for artificial locks, you don't twist them like normal locks. There is a method called interlocking. So and you are not supposed like to go with them for more than a year. And if you go with them more ukienda nazo like more than a year, you're supposed to be interlocking them. Interlocking, it's an easy way of maintaining artificial locks, because interlocking unaweza undo. Okay. But ukitwist just like normal locks, utapata kutoanisha, utakata nywele mob sana.
Okay.
So maintaining artificial locks, the best method to maintain is interlocking.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming through. And just before we go, how long have you, is this your natural, like your own locks?
Yes.
Not artificial?
Not artificial.
Can we see?
Yes, you can.
Just turn your head this way. Weh, that's long. How long have you had it?
8 years now.
8 years.
Yes.
Wow. Hey, long hair, don't care. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for coming through to the show. We're going to take a short break right now, but when we come back, I have this guy in studio. I call him an Energizer Bunny because sijui ni nini anakunywanga asubuhi. Anyway, his name is Mbuvi, and he's going to be right here sharing his journey with us. Stay tuned.